So, Minister, a recent written response from your department to my colleague Senator Plett shows that the NDP-Liberal government's Firearms Buyback Program has now cost Canadians at least $67 million without a single firearm being bought back by your government. In the written response, Public Safety said that as of June 19th, it has spent $56.1 million on this program. As well, the RCMP said it had spent just over $11 million. This is an incredible amount of money to spend on a program that doesn't yet exist, which ultimately targets licensed, trained, law-abiding gun owners, not criminals. Minister, will you scrap this program?
Monsieur le Ministre.
No, Madam Speaker, no, absolutely not. In fact, we're going to launch the program. We're going to start with phase 1 in the coming weeks that will buy back from gun stores, from gun dealers, well over 10,000 guns that are now illegal and are in their inventory, and that the government will compensate these businesses and proceed to dispose of these assault-style firearms. It won't surprise you that I don't share your view that we're targeting law-abiding gun owners. I understand you repeat the partisan talking points from your leader's office. That's not the case. You know very well that's not the case, Senator, and I hear those same phrases in the other place, but I'm happy to provide the same answers that we give in the other place. Canadians support these measures. We're proud of the program that we're going to launch. It was a commitment we made to Canadians in an election, and we've done a lot of good work in getting this ready, and I look forward to launching the details of the buyback program in the coming weeks.
Senator Martin.
Well, I know that there are concerns among the law-abiding gun owners, and so this is a very important issue. The response from your department shows external consultants received almost $11.5 million out of the $67 million spent. So, Minister, would you table in this chamber information related to contracts provided to consultants under this program? And for each contract, could you provide the name of the vendor, the value of the contract, the start and end dates, and a summary of the work provided?
Monsieur le Ministre.
Madam Speaker, through you to the Senator, when I announced details of the beginning of the buyback program, we will be offering considerable details in terms of how the program will operate, the amount of money that will be provided in terms of compensation. This program in no way targets sports persons or Indigenous persons who hunt for subsistence or who practice a sport. This is designed to get military-style weapons off the streets. As I say, it was a campaign commitment we made. We recognize that the taxpayers' money needs to be expended judiciously, and that's exactly what we did.
Senator Plett.
Leader, in March, I received a response to one of my written questions on the Senate order paper concerning the so-called buyback program for firearms. It revealed that the incompetent NDP-Liberal government had spent over $41.9 million on this program, and it hasn't even begun. I recently received a response to another question of mine asking for the updated cost on this boondoggle. The response shows that Public Safety has now spent $56.1 million, as well as the RCMP spent just over $11 million. Leader, this adds up to a grand total of $67.2 million. Absolutely not worth the cost. How is it possible for a gun confiscation program that does not even exist? Is there anyone with common sense in the NDP-Liberal government who will put a stop to this waste?
Senator Plett. Senator Golds, pardon.
Thank you, Senator Plett. It's a pleasure to be back in this role. The important thing about the buyback program is to get it right. And the buyback program for firearms is an important measure and a central part of the government's plan to combat gun violence. Every effort is being made to launch the program in the coming months. And it will include weapons that have been used in some of Canada's and indeed in the world's most deadly shootings, like the AR-15. And again, I repeat, this is part of the government's plan to reduce the impact of unnecessary and tragic gun violence, and it's important that we get it right.
Senator Platt.
Well, let's certainly get it right. This incompetent and wasteful NDP Liberal government has no respect for taxpayers and no respect for law-abiding gun owners. They've got plenty of regard for outside consultants trying to get it right. Consultants have gotten $11.5 million of the $67 million spent so far. Leader, is that not yet another example of why this government needs to go?
Senator Gold.
No, the short answer is no, and I would also encourage you to update your talking points because the way that you've characterized the government is no longer, was never accurate, and it's certainly...
Senator Platt.
Government Leader, I'm going to return to the topic of the so-called buyback program for firearms and the shocking amount of money that has been spent on it already. Over $67 million, Leader. Earlier this year, the NDP-Liberal government proudly unveiled one cargo X-ray scanner for the GTA to help stop the export of stolen cars. The scanner cost $3.5 million. 19 of these scanners could have been bought for roughly the same amount of money that they've spent to crack down on duck hunters and sports shooters. Leader, if your government wanted to stop the crime and chaos, wouldn't scanners have been a better use of taxpayers' dollar than your non-existent gun confiscation program?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for your question, Senator. It's the position of this government that the measures that it has introduced over the years to reduce the availability of certain firearms on the streets of our city are necessary and remain necessary to protect Canadians. This government's position on its firearm legislation and its work to launch its firearm buyback program are centerpieces of its concern for the well-being of Canadians. It has never been the case that its legislation targets Indigenous and other Indigenous communities, nor law-abiding firearm license holders. It is regrettable that the program has not made further progress. The government is doing everything it can to move it forward.
Senator Platt.
Of course, the word Indigenous didn't come out of my mouth when I asked you the question. I don't know why you're referring to that. Leader, yesterday I raised with you the $11.5 million in contracts that external consultants have gotten out of the $67 million you spent on this boondoggle. Will you commit, Leader, to table in the Senate the amount and name of the vendor for each contract, the date the contracts began and ended, and a summary of the work provided by under each contract?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for the question. No, I'm not willing to make that under